microphone jack when doing too.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat your children.
I'm supposed to be a franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello?
The Off the Strip Sports Podcast.
What up, guy?
Game time.
Yo,
Game time.
baby. It's game time, man. Another day. We don't miss no games, baby. We don't miss no games over here at OTS.
Hey, bro.
When they say, yo, talk to me.
I'm gonna have to snuff you. I ain't got a hoodie.
Hey, this is a prototype, man. I was a little toasty. I'm flexing right now, so like we get a couple comments, they be like, "Oh, you got a hoodie? Hey, it's on the way. It's on the way. It's on the way.
Baby.
It's on the way. Off the strip is on the way, baby. Don't worry about it. But hey, man, your hoodie's on the way too, bro. So don't trip.
All right.
Man, how you, man? Happy Sunday, man. How you? Happy November. Feel like
Happy
we've been
November.
in 2020.
Happy Sunday. Another week. Guess what? We still alive. We made it in this crazy world.
Yeah, man. For sure,
It's
man.
crazy. It's crazy place we call world.
Yeah.
I'm good.
To our listeners, new and old, just to remind y'all, you are a stripper, and I'm gonna explain that to you in a second. But welcome to the Off the Strip Sports Podcast. I'm your co-host, Cal. We got my co-host Futch in the building. They go Futch right there. And if you heard the name in the podcast, Off the Strip, strippers, just roll with it. So welcome to the Off the Strip Sports Podcast, man. We got a great episode lined up for you guys. But first, I just want to get with Futch, talk with Futch about our Black Business Near You campaign that we did last month, man. Like
Oktoberfest?
Oktoberfest, the October situation, man.
Quarters?
Yeah, man. How was that, man? How'd you think that went?
I think it went very well. The feedback we got from the strippers, the feedback just period. Every time we close the episode, we talk about it. I feel like it was a great platform that we built. And it was just a way for people like us just to, talk about it. Like, how like in a relationship or just period, like I don't want nothing from it. I just want to talk about it. Like,
right.
So what you want, Futch? No, I just wanted to say it. That's it. Like, I just felt like it was one of those. It was something like, let me talk about what I'm doing. And we brought so many different people from so many different rims of life. It's like, it was great. Like we went to tax, to clothing, to weedology, to tutoring, to catering. It was just, I loved it. I felt like it was great. What's your take on it?
Nah, it was dope, man. I like the diversity behind it. I like the different personalities, the different people that came up. And like you said, like we wasn't really trying to we were just trying to set the table. If anything, we were just a vessel. We just wanted to provide a platform for, these different brands that like we utilize and we see every day to just kind of get themselves out there and put themselves on and kind of just let everybody else know what they do. So I was super excited to do that. My favorite, I'll probably have to say, I like Boo's energy. I like Flex Zone. I like his energy and his confidence behind his brand, man. Like he was just like, yo, this ain't going nowhere. I've been building this since, I was a baby. You know what I'm saying? Now this is my baby. So, I like the energy behind Flex Zone. But as far as my favorite, man, that was tough, man. Let me think. I'm gonna have to go Weedology.
Weedology. Hey,
might have to go Weedology.
I copped some CBD, bro, for my knee.
Oh, word, okay. And we're gonna get into that too.
Yeah, I like it, I guess, but like I feel less pain, but I don't know if it's like psychological or is it just I rested up.
You don't know if you're taking like a water pill or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with it, but if I have to go with my favorite, I'm gonna have to go Off the Strip because that's what I do best. It had to be the Black Math Academy.
Okay.
Maybe
was your favorite?
It's a different way of life. It's like when we thinking about like businesses, like, oh, there's a Black Math Academy. Like And the reason why he did it in the stuff he told us and Y equal MX plus B, I've been seeing that OD.
Seeing that
Like,
OD,
I
man.
just keep seeing it. And then the 10%, like when you had a restaurant and all this, that, and the third that he gave us real quick before he exited, I thought it was like perfect. So it was a real gem that I can really, 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 really take on. Like they all drop gems. However, the Black Math Academy just really
kind of messed with you a little bit.
It just was like, hold on, whoa, what? Why was MS? I used that? Like, but yeah, that had to be that one. Like really touched. It touched another. And I love math also.
No. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Nah, I mean, I was trying not to be biased because that's my brother, but you know, like, I mean, he definitely got a solid thing going over there, man. And being that, you know, he's putting his little twist on it is what I admire the most about it. So, you know, shout out to the Black Math Academy. Shout out to my brother O'Neal, man, and everything he's doing, you know, for the Black community across the nation. Honestly, he's not just kicking it in Jersey. He's everywhere with it. So, shout out to my man. But damn, since you hit the Black Math Academy, I might have to. Weedology was definitely dope. It was just different. That was off the strip for me. Just doing what they, you know, doing the different things that they doing, and it even taught you something, man. It didn't even put you on to some CBD.
Yeah, because I thought, you know, all that was just taking
just one way. Yeah,
you know, they ain't your boy.
Right, that ain't your boy. I started doing the CBD thing probably around this time last year, and you know, I noticed a difference. You know, like I feel like I can tell when I'm using it, and then like even after the post recovery. Even after like post game or the recovery process, like I'm definitely I'm not feeling as many aches and pains that I normally would. So, you know, I definitely can attest to the CBD culture. So yeah, man. But yeah, we're gonna get more into that a little bit later, man. Once we get our guest up here. Before we do bring our guest, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else we need to touch on before. Got to pull my notes up here. I thought I was prepared, but Cal ain't never prepared. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Oh, there they go down there.
There they go.
Yeah, they got them. I got them down here. But anyway, we good, man. Let's get into it, man. We got a solid guest lined up.
Who we got?
Hey, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to bring my guy on, man. First off, shout out to Allison Giselle, Pop by Giselle for connecting us. But we got a good friend of ours now, a veteran of the NBA. An entrepreneur of sorts.
Say it again, a vet of the NBA.
A hard-nosed vet of the NBA, man. He definitely put some time in. He played with some of the greats. He played with one of our greats. He played with the great Michael Jordan. So, you know, like anybody that was in that circle, like, hey, we all right, let's see what's going on here, you know. But the gentleman's name is Mike Brown. Mike the Bear, or the Brown Bear Brown. He got that nickname when he was out in Utah. But I got a little clip here I'm gonna show you guys of my man when you know, when he was in his prime, from GW back to coming over and being with the Bulls. Well, hold on, let me pull that.
I like Leo energy. Leo provide that energy we need.
Yeah, Leo taking care of business, man. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to the strippers pulling up, man. But hey, real quick, yo, check.
Out in front, they'll go to Bobby. Trailer plays right around. Hold up. Doc takes a low to Mike. Go back in, fake turn, lay it up, score it.
I didn't want to go too much.
Hey,
that
look,
was about a 2-minute video. I just want to get. He was in here getting busy though. Hey,
you dunk on that man like that? How you dunk on that man like that, Mike Brown?
Mike Brown out here getting busy, man. Let's go ahead and bring my man on real quick, man. Hey, Mike Brown, what's going on, brother?
Unmute him, bro.
Let me unmute him real quick. There we go.
Man? How y'all doing?
Hey, we good, man. Hey, welcome to the Off the Strip Sports Podcast, man. How are you?
Hey, I can't complain, man. It's a Sunday, man. Everything is good, healthy in this household, so it's all good.
Absolutely.
That's amazing to hear.
Hey, you just saw that video of you know, some of your highlights in your prime, man. What was you thinking when you see things like that? What comes to your mind when you see those?
Oh man, shoot, I want to go back out and hoop. You know? The body's still feeling good, and hey, the pandemic's been going on, so I actually haven't been able to go out there and hoop since like the end of January. Because you know, I want to go out and bang a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, and that you did.
You still got it? You still got it?
Oh, yeah. We had a little routine, man, every Friday morning. Now, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we used to go full court, but the short way.
Okay.
15 minutes on the clock. You come in, you sign up. You got guys, and we would go from about 30. The youngest guy about 30. Say the oldest guy was about maybe 65, 67.
Oh, yeah.
So we would do it 10 minutes. You know, some games it may be 4-2, and the clock go off. But over the last year, I done now down, and now I got a Friday morning 4-on-4 half court.
Okay.
So then, you know, I really be in my mix then, and you know, on the
half court, that's you.
I
got you, man.
Hey Cal, show Leo a comment so Mike can see it.
Oh yeah. He said that drop step is mean.
Oh, that's good. You know, old school. Gotta have that. Gotta use that butter nose thighs. You know, get them on that side. You gotta abuse them.
Got to, man. So that was the game back in the day. That it was real physical, real bruising, real hard nose. Like get in there, man. Tell us about your time in the NBA and you know how that was and from going from GW to the league.
Well, I tell you, you know, I came and, you know, I'm a New Jersey guy, grew up in Jersey, you know, was fortunate enough to get a scholarship, went down to GW, and just it was a great time being down there. Great players, you know, in the area from Adrian Branch, you know, at Maryland, Len Bias, you know, down at Georgetown, the Carlos Yates right across the bridge. So we had a lot of talent down there at the DMV. You know, during my time down there in the early 80s, 81 to 85. Yeah. Then from there, I was fortunate enough to get drafted by the Bulls. The Bulls drafted me in the third round, which is crazy because the third round doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so, you know, got drafted by them and went out there to Chicago. And, you know, it was never a dream of me playing in the league. I just wanted to get a chance to go to college for free.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And so that was my main goal. And as I developed at GW, you know, under some great coaching and developed and start getting more recognition, played on the USA team and started realizing, hey, I'm kind of holding my own with these, you know, marquee guys, making a name for myself. I ended up getting drafted, went out to the Bulls, played summer league, had set a rebounding record for 18 boards in summer league. I was like, oh, you know what? Hey, you know, I belong a little bit and play real well in summer league. And I love to play. So I had an opportunity after summer league. An agent put together a team and they was going over to Italy and Spain and France and play some games. And he said, oh yeah, I put some money in your pocket. So I'm coming out of college. I was like, money in my pocket.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So, you know, he gave us about 3 G's and we was going to be gone for about 22 days.
Okay.
Everything paid for. So
that's not bad.
No. So I'm going over there and I'm playing different countries, playing against their team.
Yeah. So you out here bruising, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we playing and all of a sudden, after a game, a team gave me an offer. So he comes and tells me, hey, team wants you to play. And I was like, you know what? I'm property of the Bulls. I'm enjoying this. Kept going. All of a sudden, I got another offer. So I was like, oh, man, this ain't bad. So then one was really, really good. And this was in Italy. And we were going the next day to Switzerland. And I said, oh, I'd never been to Switzerland. You know, cuckoo clocks, chocolate. I want to go up to Switzerland. It was only about a 45-minute ride. So I went up to Switzerland with the team. They was like, we don't want you to play in the game. So they drove up to Switzerland. We sat down in the hotel lobby. They gave me a contract. I called the Bulls and I said, hey, this is what I got. And, you know, what's going on? And they said, well, Mike, we got a full roster. We're trying to trade David Greenwood. If you remember David Greenwood from UCLA, and they said we're trying to trade him, but he's coming off an Achilles operation, and no one wants him until preseason. And preseason starts in October in the NBA, and this was September.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna take the deal. Guaranteed money. They said, fine. We still have your rights. We still want you here. Go ahead. Our blessings. So I took the deal and signed for that year to play in Italy, right outside of Milan, and best experience of my life.
Oh man. Yeah, I honestly didn't know that, overseas basketball was prevalent even back in the 80s. So, when I was reading up on you because I saw 80s and all the time I'm thinking like, all right, 80s Bulls. There's only one thing that comes to mind, but then I saw you, before it was the Bulls, it was overseas, and that was a little surprising to me. But it sounds like it was common. Like it sounds like players did make that happen, make that transition over. It's not just a modern day thing when a lot of players are going overseas first.
No, really started like in early 70s, and it was really big. And the thing when you go overseas is that normally a team only has 2 Americans, so you're the hired gun. So when you go over, you got to have some thick skin, because if you go over there and you score 8 points and you win, you're the hero. If you score 30 and lose, you're the GOAT. So you got to have that thick skin. You can't be like trying to read the newspaper because you're going to have your feelings hurt. And it's set up more like the NFL. You're playing every weekend. So you get a whole week of just practice and the media just killing you. So if it's not for everyone. That was my thing. Because you get used to having things a certain way here at home, and you go overseas. Back then, you got to have a dual VCR in order to watch something, and it's crazy. So it wasn't for everyone, but I enjoyed it.
Gotcha.
My cousin, he played overseas, and he had an offer to come back to play in the NBA, but he didn't take it. Like, is there something about overseas that's better than the NBA, or that would shy people away from potentially coming back?
Well, I tell you, first of all, if you get a contract, and we just use a number, just say if they give you $150,000, that $150,000, you getting 15 G's a month. They paying for your housing. They give you an automobile, and so you really bringing home 15 G's a month. Right. So now you gotta evaluate the stats on what the deal is. Would be over here. The way of life is real kind of laid back when you're in a great country. Now, some crazy countries. Okay. And when you're in a great country, life is real easy. You kind of a really big fish in a little pond. And so for guys, when they look at that, it's like, now I got to go back and compete. They're not going to give me guaranteed money. So I'm losing the overseas thing to go for the brass ring of the NBA. If I don't get it, overseas has already started, and they're looking to replace. Yeah. They already get their people in place because they only get 2 a team, and then they only get a chance to make so many changes a year. So they just can't keep flip-flopping.
Got you.
So guys say, hey, this is the security. It was good to me when I was in need and looking, so I'm going to stay around. I've seen that, I've seen that a lot, and I've seen guys that had practice and didn't show up to practice, went to the airport, left their car in the airport, and got on a plane to come back to America because they couldn't stand it. That's what I've seen.
Oh, man. You've seen both sides of it. Oh, yeah, that's different, man. That's different. We're going to transition a little bit between. I know we're talking about when you first started, but we're going to fast forward into like present day NBA basketball and just the climate that we're in right now. One, we just finished up something different that you I don't think you've ever played in in your 11 years in the NBA bubble.
No.
So what'd you think of that? And do you think something like that could have made it back in your time?
Well, I tell you, I was very impressed on all the protocol and precautions and the help that they did setting up the bubble. Because honestly, when I heard about it in the beginning, I didn't think it was going to survive the 90 or 100 days.
Right.
You know, now we had some mishaps with guys, Uber Eats going out. Yes, but I didn't think it was going to survive. I thought it was going to be some kind of major outbreak of a superstar, and that would change the whole dynamics now of the whole betting. The sports book, everything on the outcome. But I do commend Adam Silver and the players for doing a great job at the bubble.
For sure, yeah, they did. It was definitely something. I mean, obviously, we saw. Honestly, I think we saw some of the best basketball we've seen in a few years.
Yes.
Being that like some players thrive off like nobody being in the stand. It's like practice when you just going at the person
Right.
in front of you, and then you got on the other hand, you got some players that like feed off the fans where it's like I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna keep that going. But for the most part, we just saw good basketball within that bubble because it was just you and the person in front of you. And that was just something that was.
I got questions
really
for Mike.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
We discussed this a couple episodes ago, but the fact that there wasn't fans, and who was it? Jimmy Butler. He was like, "Nah, this is it's a business trip for me. I don't need no family, none of that here. Like I'm here locked in." So I feel like certain players like Jimmy Butler that's there locked in. Like I'm here for one reason only. But then it's the other players that's like, I want my wife or my daughter or my kid or whatever the case. Like, what is your take on both sides? I'm more supporting the Jimmy Butler side. Like, let me take care of business. And I'm gonna come see y'all when I see y'all. But how do you feel about just a business trip or the players that's like, I need my family here, I will let my family be here?
Well, I relate to both. I'm more like you and on the Jimmy Butler to where, hey, I'm on a mission. I came up where I didn't have, and I had to claw my way up the ladder. Mm-hmm. So when you got to scrap and claw your way up, it's completely different mindset because every time you're stepping out there, you're constantly, I got to prove myself. On the other side, when you have guys that's a superstar, they're like, I'm used to this, and athletes get into a routine. Mm-hmm. And they like certain things. If it's taking their nap, their pregame meal, having their family around, sleeping in their bed, they get into that routine. And what happens is that they miss that. And some of them, I wouldn't say mentally tough enough to turn that switch and do it, but it's more comfortable the other way. So I can relate to both sides because you really basketball players are a creature of habit. Yeah. And when that routine gets disturbed, it affects guys' game. Yeah. Guys are kind of, very superstitious, with certain things.
That makes sense. Yeah, kind of what I was saying. That makes all the sense in the world. In addition to like keeping it in the modern day, or today's basketball, they've been very vocal with the social injustices that's been going on and voting as well. How was the culture as far as like the social injustice or the things outside of basketball that like when it came to the NBA during your time? Like how was the NBA speaking to that? I wanted David Stern was your commissioner back then, if I'm not mistaken. And but like I mean, because it was still going on back then, but I'm sure we dealt with it. You guys dealt with it a little differently. But how was the NBA dealing with it? And honestly, how were you dealing with it? How was it during your time? Like,
well, I tell you, during my time, it was more of you understand the things that are going on. You didn't have nowhere near the voice that these young men have today.
Okay.
The platform, the going out, speaking on the injustice and acting on it and realizing that, hey, I may have to lose a little something and sacrifice this in order to get my point across. And in today's world, I commend that to the fact that salaries are where they are. Mm-hmm. So in turn, you have a cushion to say, you know what, if I need to miss this, it's not really going to hurt me, that much because I have this here, these amount of chips stacked up in the bank, and I can go do this. In my era, it was more of when I came in, it was 23 teams, and you really looking at owners was like, more, hey, you know what, if you kind of step out of line, you could easily be replaced.
Got you.
That was,
That's what I thought.
that was much more. It was a gap. You had the superstars that you kind of see now. A great picture with Jabbar and Jim Brown and Russell and Ali. You know, you've been seeing that picture of them. You know, when they're having a press conference. But it was you had that. Then you had a big space of not a lot of activity with the athletes speaking up, especially if you wasn't a superstar, because they would definitely, you know, easily kind of replace you. And then it's like a thing, let me try to do more things in my community when I go home rather than in front of a microphone, because now I could end up losing my situation to where I won't be able to help my community.
You had your community back home. Yeah. So
we was more, and my era was more like that.
it's kind of like what we look at when we watch TV now and we see certain people, you know, speaking out. We're kind of like, I wonder if, you know, this guy may, you know, potentially lose an endorsement or something like that by just speaking, you know, the fact. When in actuality, back in your time, yes, you will.
Yes, you do.
That's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, they let you know that. You know, they was more like how Jerry Jones is now.
Okay.
You know, when Jerry Jones says, hey, my guys aren't going to do this. And then all of a sudden, you know, you had one guy do it. And then you saw last week he got cut.
Yeah.
And even though they waited and didn't say, like, okay, it was because of that. Oh, yeah, he's overweight. But
nah, you said something else, too.
The only guy that kneeled ended up losing his job 5-6 games later.
Right. Yeah. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, man. Speaking of making it make sense, man, I got a question for you as a teammate. You've been a teammate for a while. So just this past, I want to say within the last week, I can't remember what day it was, but the LA Dodgers just won they just won their third World Series. Yeah, they just won a World Series. They just won a World Series. And they had a bubble apparently, but somehow one of the championship players, Justin Turner, tested positive for COVID, and in the 6th inning, you know, he was removed and isolated. However, after the Dodgers win, you know, he's out there celebrating. So, you know, on one end, you got a World Series chip. You know, it's something that, you know, we've been working very, very hard for. But on the other end, it's 2020. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and we get the stresses that come with that, but people have also died. So seeing, like, as a teammate, how do you feel when you see somebody like that, like risking it all for a champion?
Risking it all, everybody else's life.
Like, we already go ahead, man.
Oh, well, you know what? For me, it's your teammate. You want to be able to celebrate. Now, he's with them in the dugout for all those innings until he finds out, like in the 6th inning, that he's positive. So in reality, with his teammates, you have exposed them.
Yeah,
already.
You already,
Right. But now the protocol is you have to leave. So when you have to leave, there shouldn't be that coming back. See, you know, Major League Baseball dropped the ball on that, and it was very, very lucky because they were lucky the fact that it wasn't a Game 7.
Yeah.
Because now if it's a Game 7, it's going to be a whole lot of positive tests. And so they dropped the ball on that. On Turner, I know you want to celebrate. It's going to be plenty of time for that. But that was also a very selfish move.
That's what I was thinking.
Because you're exposing families, your front office people, all, you know, umpires, all of these people that now go down, you know, to the field, jumping around, celebrating. You're exposing all of them, you know, for your selfish move. I just thought that I wouldn't have done that, and I would have been upset as a teammate with him on the fact that he's like, this is that important. The important thing is we won.
Right.
And you're a major part of that. You know, and that's the way things are now, to people not really understanding how serious this COVID-19 is.
Yeah.
And that people have lost their lives, and more like, oh, well, I don't want to do it, or I don't feel, I'm just not going to do it because someone's telling me I'm not going to wear a mask. And you see, you try to speak to some people that actually lost family members.
Yeah.
And we try to justify that, oh, I don't want to do it. Somebody's just telling me not to wear a mask. And you'll see a reaction you get and probably wouldn't be real pleasant.
Yeah. Like you look at I'm listening to those debates, like looking at when you see folks that, you sit down at the dinner table and there's somebody that's not there and it's because of COVID, have that. It's like, this has been one of those years where like people are not really recognizing stuff until it's happening in their household, and it's right in front of them, and like COVID is one of those things that will punch you in the mouth if you let it, so that's valid. Go ahead, Bud.
I was in South Dakota and Iowa this weekend. They don't have
no
a
clue what you're doing in South
don't worry
Dakota
about
and Iowa.
No, I'm surprised you made it back.
Hey, look, I was ready to get up out of there. Let me tell you. But they don't have a mask mandate.
Right.
They don't have a mask mandate. So I felt so uncomfortable just because I'm aware of what's going on, but everybody just like, hey, no mask. Like I wore my mask more this past weekend I think I have in this whole entire COVID. Like I went to sleep with the mask on. Like it's just like, just because they weren't and nobody was, I'm like, this is scary. Like people are dying and
they out there just at the bar.
Yeah.
Next round on
risking it all.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is. And I tell you, it hit home for me. My earlier in March, my dad had COVID.
Oh, okay.
And so he's 83.
Okay.
And it just happened to be, I'm talking to him. He's in New Jersey. I'm talking to him on the phone. We talk almost every day. I'm talking to him, and it's like, he said, okay, let me hold on. Went from the kitchen phone. He got the old-fashioned phone on the wall, and he's going to the bedroom. He gets to the bedroom phone. He's a little out of breath. So, I joke with him. I said, Dad, you need to be, get your little walk on or something. You can't be out of breath like that. The next day I call him, and he could barely talk.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Called the ambulance, called 911. So they came, took him. He ends up having COVID. He was fortunate enough not to be on a respirator.
Okay.
And then, he tested. He went to, hospital, then went to a rehab facility. And again, he was fine. He bounced back. But, that was a scary moment, and not knowing. But he was, in Newark. He's catching the bus.
Yeah.
Apartment building with 1,000 people who's touching the elevator button, the doors, and touching his face, stuff like that. And that's probably how he got it. But again, it could have easily been, tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it could have been worse, man. And that's what some people got to realize, man. Like, just because, I'm glad that, he's okay. And that whatever what you were saying, I'm glad it didn't go any further than that. I'm glad, I'm glad that, he's still in Newark, in a healthy state. So that's definitely a beautiful thing, man. We got a question
for you.
From one of the strippers, man. It's my favorite stripper. This is my wife, actually. But if you can go back 25 years to your 25-year-old self, what advice would you give?
Well, I tell you, the first thing would be taking care of your money better.
Okay.
And the reason is that because when you're young, it's just that you think it's always going to continue that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did a good job and did some good investments. We also had some bad investments, but I would have just like allocated a bigger portion, towards savings than I actually did. Instead of just using 20%, I would have done something more like 60 or 65%.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. More than that. Okay.
Yeah. More than that way would have done, that would have been, the biggest thing. The biggest thing.
Got you. Taking care of your money, man. So, everything revolves back to the money.
You mentioned investing and saving your money and like doing other things. What else do you have going on besides I see the rap snacks going on. So the people that's listening, what else do you have going on?
Life after the jersey.
Yeah, that was a great investment. You know, I have a buddy of mine, James Lindsay. He's the CEO of Rap Snacks, and he came to me back in '94
Oh,
and
okay.
laid down his business plan, his dream about wanting snack food, mom and pop store up and down the street, only a 25-cent bag. And he was like, hey, I feel that every little kid walking to and from school, getting on the bus, whatever it might be, has a quarter. Started in Philadelphia, North Philly with the Rap Snacks. I invested with him then. And now 26 years later, you know, Rap Snacks is across the U.S. and actually working on things going overseas now in Walmart. And actually on the food side is only Patti LaBelle Pies and Rap Snacks are the only two Black-owned businesses that's on the food industry side that Walmart carries. So we've a long way.
No, that's pretty good. Actually, there's your niece right there. Yeah, that was Rap Snacks of the Truth. If you haven't had them, now I've had I've had a few. I think I had the Cardi B ones.
Okay,
is that the barbecue joints?
Oh, well, they got a new Cardi B, which is a barbecue cheddar. So that just came out about a month ago.
Okay, no, it wasn't that one. This was a few years ago, but it was in Vegas though.
That was the Cardi B. But listen to this, just a week ago, besides saying what's up to Allison there, and thank you for this introduction to your people here. I enjoy being on the show, is that they just came out with a pork skin. So Cardi B just came out with a pork skin. It just hit Walmart about 4 or 5 days ago. So that's the new item.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, speaking on the rap, keeping it with the Rap Snacks, do you all partner with these like the artists that are on it too? Like they obviously have to you got to get their okay. Is it some type of, I guess what I'm trying. I don't know if you can speak on it either. I don't want to.
Well, let me tell you here on my man James and how we just kind of started a little bit. He was a marketing guy and he went to Cheney State. So when he came up with the idea, he was like, he didn't have the money to go to each individual artist and say, hey, I'm going to pay you to put your name. So what he did, he went to Def Jam and he almost took the concept, you got all these artists on your label and you're going to advertise in The Source and Right On and all these, publications.
Yeah.
Why don't you advertise directly on the back of my bag? Okay. So we went and cut the deal with Def Jam. So now Def Jam gave him the rights or gave us the rights to put artists on each individual bag. So how new they was on a more popular flavor if you really wanted to get them out there.
Got you.
We talked about their little history on the back of the bag or their CD they're about to drop or their concerts. You could list all of these. So what happened early on, artists didn't even know they were on a bag because they was under Def Jam.
Right. As long as they was under Def Jam, they was on the bag.
Yes. So I mean, we started with the Belle Biv DeVoe, the Little Romeo, on down the line. If you was a Def Jam artist, we kind of had the right to, put you on the back. But now it's a straight 50-50 deal.
Okay.
So when you with Cardi or the Migos, Lil Boosie, it's a 50-50 deal. So now they use their platform, social media, to really promote it. And the more their flavor or their thing sells, the bigger their check is.
Got you. Okay. So they're gonna do what they got to do then. Yeah, that'll drive the margin up for sure, man. Now that makes all the sense in the world, man. Man, yo, I'm enjoying this convo, man.
And that's a lot going on. I gotta go give me some Rap Snacks.
Right.
We get you some snacks and all the flavors. We got the noodles now. The noodles came out during the pandemic.
I seen that.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes, and the noodles was that ended up being a big hit because everybody was on lockdown.
Yeah,
so the noodles was flying off the shelf, so that was good.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's for sure, man. Hey, we're gonna go back to the '80s real quick. We're gonna take it back to you in the Jersey, man. So we ask the tough questions here at OTS. So just this year, this year. The Last Dance came out.
It was during COVID. It was during COVID.
It was during yeah, because we needed it. Those 7 weeks we got through COVID. We couldn't wait.
That was the
only
sports that we had. That was the only sports
that
we
was
had.
the only thing. So we thrived off of that, man. But so we remember. I vividly remember in episode 1 when Mike was talking about his rookie year and just how different it was going from UNC to Chicago. And so he talked about that one situation where he walked into a hotel room with a bunch of his teammates and whatnot. So just the culture of the NBA, I know Mike said that, but can you speak to it? Do you know any how was that lifestyle as far as after the game, hey, we're going to go and do this? So how did y'all have fun as the NBA as a Chicago Bull, as a Utah Jazz?
Well, I think on the Bulls we were very close because actually when I got drafted on the Bulls, I got drafted in '85. Now MJ and I the same age, but he came out in '84. Then I went and played a year overseas. So actually I got drafted in '85. But I'm actually on the roster in '86.
Okay.
So we was real tight. We would do a lot of hanging out on the road, and we would do it at home in Chicago because we only had one guy that was married, and that was Paxson.
Okay.
We got married. We hung out all the time, as the fellas. And then the Bears had just won in '85, so they would have toasted Chicago. So we would be kind of flying under the radar, and so we would be, this party's going on, or we here, we going around Chicago. I'm happy I'm getting into stuff without paying. We had a really good time. So guys was close. And then Jordan's situation, Jordan couldn't go out because people attacked him. It was, I've only seen kind of two people and both of them happen to be MJ, for Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan, that people lose their mind when they see him.
Oh,
they may be driving down the street, they be like, oh, it's Michael Jordan, and they go to Will. And I mean, those two on the Michael Jackson, I went by his house and people was just sitting outside of his gate, eating, holding candles, just a glimpse of him wanting to maybe come through on a limo.
Come check the mail or something.
Yeah, and Jordan was that way. So, he had to go to the supermarket 15 minutes before it closed at 10 o'clock at night just to do the shopping. He had the deal set up because people he couldn't go during the day because they would just cause chaos.
It was like that in his early years?
Oh, my goodness. Listen.
Out of college?
Once he got to, because now when we're on the Bulls, it's his second year. So he done led the NBA in scoring.
Oh, yeah.
He got a pair of shoes.
The one.
He got all the commercials in Chicago as far as he's doing the Mickey D's. He's doing, I think he was Chevrolet. He's doing Johnson & Johnson. He's doing all of these things. So he's on TV in 3-4 different commercials, by meaning 3-4 different products.
Yeah, his endorsement game was crazy.
Oh, yeah, and see, this is why Jordan never complained about salary. When I was on the Bulls, he wasn't the highest paid player.
Got you.
Wasn't. He never complained because he made his money in endorsements. And he felt that made him look bad complaining for money on basketball when he's making this side money that was triple and quadruple his salary.
Facts, yeah. He's been in the Haynes guy for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, he was still doing Haynes after he stopped hooping.
Yeah, he was a Haynes guy for a minute.
And so, and so he transcended. He came along at the right time because cable television and everything is coming out. So he became a household name.
Yeah.
Without actually having the basketball production yet. He didn't have the rings of the Celtics players and everything. He didn't have that yet, but he came along at the right time. So in turn, we had to do a lot of things at each other's house. He would always invite us over. We're going to shoot pool. He'd buy the pizza. We're going to play ping pong. That was his way because he couldn't go out to the Dave and Buster's or those type of places.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's how we became close, that we did a lot at each other's houses.
Okay, that's wow, man. You was in here shooting pool with Mike, man. Now we over here talking to you, man. This is crazy.
That's great.
Love is love,
Competitive
man.
now. Competitive. He going fight you tooth and nail. You know, if
Got
you
you.
flip the coin right now, you say heads, you lose. You can't stop. You know, you're gonna have to flip that coin again. He's competitive that way.
So the game.
I got one.
Yeah,
When I forgot what game it was over, and it was like, good game, Mike, and he was like, I took that personal. Like, for him to be snapping, like, I thought it was a bipolar statement, but like, I understand his mindset, the way he played, but do you think like that kind of like was like a problem in a sense a little bit? You understand my question?
Yeah, he was wired differently. and again, let me tell you, when you're going to battle, you want someone like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when you go into battle, it's two guys that I used to always say, when you yell, and I play with a lot of great players, a lot of Hall of Famers, and no disrespect to any of them, but if you on that front line and you yell charge and you begin to run, you know, two guys for me was Jordan and John Stockton. They're going to be right there in the front.
Okay.
You may look back and you be like, oh, yo, where you at? You know, for somebody else. But those two was that competitive nature of going to fight. Now, with Jordan, you may say it could be a little overboard, because when sometime instead of even celebrating, he's now thinking about something you say, and the next time he see you, he going to record you, because he remembered every single thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking, he's telling me Dale Ellis is this, Jeff Malone was this. If you was another two guard,
He was coming at you.
Oh my goodness. And he was like, no, I'm about to, and this started back, you know, like high school, because I remember him telling the story about Buzz Peterson. Buzz Peterson was Mr. North Carolina.
Okay.
And he goes to North Carolina also. So
so Buzz and Mike was at North Carolina at the same time?
Exactly. Buzz Peterson and him. So Michael Jordan wasn't Mr. North Carolina as far as your high school being voted, you know, the best high school player in North Carolina. Buzz Peterson was. And MJ was telling me, he said, listen, I told them I want a room with Buzz.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? And so I'm thinking, okay, you know, y'all freshmen coming in, you know, but his whole mentality of why he wanted a room with Buzz was something off the chart that I never.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
He said, I want to study him because I want to see him, you know, how he ticks, what's going on in his mindset, because he was Mr. North Carolina, and I don't understand how he could, because I didn't play against him. So how could he get voted that way, and we didn't even have a head-to-head competition?
Right. He ain't even come across my desk yet. He ain't even come across my desk.
Listen, Buzz was in the water with a shark and didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Mike over here studying them up. Like, look,
yes.
Mr. Basketball who? I got you. I got
That's right. So to your point there is that he's, you know, wired differently, and maybe that's a detriment when it come down to a little bit overboard, but that was MJ.
Right. And that's what you need on you. And like you said, like I'm picking him up every single time. Yeah, you need that on your team. So you went from, just to kind of backtrack, you went from Italy playing with the Bulls, and it looks like, and I read you did 5 years with the Jazz.
Yes.
And then I heard you just mention John Stockton. What was it like? You just finished saying how differently Michael Jordan was wired with the Bulls. Now you go to the Jazz, which, you know, the Bulls pretty much kept them from ever winning a chip. But what was it like playing with the Jazz and also playing against Mike at the same time?
Well, the Jazz was, hey, listen, I got traded. I got picked up in the expansion draft to go to Charlotte.
Okay.
And then I got traded for someone that I watched when I was in 13, 14 years old, and that was Kelly Tripucka.
Okay.
So he's a great tremendous basketball player out of Jersey. His whole family, you know, dad played at Notre Dame football. Another brother played there, basketball, Notre Dame. But I got traded for him. And I remember when I was like 13, 14, I go to see Kelly Tripucka play because, you know, you're going to see these big time games. And he was predominantly an all white high school. You know, not predominantly. It was basically, you know, all white high school. And he played against East Orange High School, which is all black. And I watched him give East Orange 53. And I was like, oh, this is a bad man, right? High school. And you know how you normally you would have some players that get intimidated, depends on the atmosphere of the gym that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
He absorbed that, killed them. And I was like, wow. And then later on, I got traded for him. So I told him, you know, when I got traded, I said, listen, I saw you at 13, which you have no idea of this story. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, I had the utmost respect for you for the level of your game and the hostile atmosphere you performed in.
Right. Yeah.
Then, you know, it's an honor for me to now get traded for you.
Yeah, that's just one of those things.
You know, I'm in Utah for that reason. Okay. I'm out there in Utah. First time I ever been in Utah. You know, I knew of Salt Lake City because of the Mormon religion and the LDS, but I'm out there and it was new grounds, but I'm like, this is a new opportunity for me to play. Mm-hmm. A great coach, and we had more of a team thing, by meaning everybody kind of had their little role. When I started on the Bulls, you could be in situations that where you're watching Micheal. Because he was that great, you're watching him. And now you better be ready to do your piece when he give it to you.
Right. You drop it off to you. Yeah.
You better be able to do yours because he will talk about you if you don't come on.
Oh, he gonna we seen that. He gonna let you have it.
He will do that. You know, so Utah was more man. Yeah, he'll say that. Yo, and look at you crazy, like, yo, man. And so you know, now I'm in Utah. Utah was much more of a team, more uniform. So I would say a little bit more of a military kind of regimen. Like when we went, we all had the same warm-up suit on. Now on Chicago, we're gonna have on Bulls stuff, but MJ gonna have on his Air Jordan stuff. It's gonna be the same color in the red, black, and scheme, but he gonna wear his stuff.
Got you. Wow.
So in Utah, it was more, hey, if it's Karl Malone or Stockton, if they break the rule, they're going to have the repercussions of that the same way as the 12th guy on the bench.
Gotcha.
That was Utah. So I was glad I was able to experience both sides because actually that both helped me in real life situations in the real world dealing with business.
Yeah, no, you're able to see both sides of the coin, man. That's very interesting, and that perspective from Chicago to Utah definitely says a lot. You know,
we didn't even notice like it happened. I felt like we didn't even notice like MJ was out there
just enjoying it down, like just had no clue.
Hey, listen, it was, you know, is different, and again, another thing is that Chicago's a step down from kind of like New York. By meaning, in New York, your average guy walking down the street understands sports.
Yeah.
So he may see you and be like, yo, man, you went 2 for 8 last night. When you going to step up your game?
Right.
In Utah, it was more like entertainment, and the fans was just happy that you was in Salt Lake City.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I see people, I look around in the supermarket, and I see people watching me just to see what kind of meat I'm putting in my shopping cart. You know, they was more amazed, like, oh, wow, you know, come up. It didn't get to the point that they coming up was rubbing on my skin, but almost. Right.
This guy, like, wow, this guy eats regular chicken like me. Bro. This guy eats rice and chicken like me. That's crazy.
That wasn't for everyone. If you couldn't, if you wasn't open-minded, because it was things that was done just out of curiosity, and I think for me playing overseas also helped me with that because you're new and you're a novelty.
Yeah.
And it's just more of no harm. It's just curiosity. I want to learn because I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
If you wasn't exposed to that, then you probably would be more offensive, like, yo, mind your own business. Don't ask me questions like that. And
Gotcha.
so you
That
told
helped
me
you.
it was good people.
Yeah. It helped you. You know, and I mean, judging by the highlight tape, man, like you, and what I read as well, like you know, you were definitely, you know, a fan favorite, you know, out in Utah.
Yeah.
They loved you out there. That's where the Brown Bear came about, by their commentator out there, man. So that's a beautiful thing. You also had the New Washington Monument as a nickname too. From that was back in the GW days, but you know, how did that come about? Like, just I meant to ask you that a while ago, but just curious.
Well, you know, just balling in DC and coming on, you know, playing and kind of getting the name for myself, like I said, on the USA team down back then, and that all started in DC. And our press guy, you know, just said, hey, we're going to, you know, put you on the press cover, and leaning on the Washington Monument. So from far, you know, it was up under my arms. I'm leaning with a ball, and it was like the new Washington Monument because at that time too, they was renovating the Washington Monument at one point, and then they also had it was before, you know, you guys were born probably, but it was that was there that had explosives that they found out, but you know, it never blew up. But it was
there was what? There was what?
They had explosives in the van. They was using that as a terrorist attack. And they were going, you know, trying to, you know, blow up there the Washington Monument. So then the cover of the press guide had already came out with me, and they was like, oh no, we're only going to have one Washington Monument now, joking around. And so that just kind of stuck. And then that press guide ended up winning press guide of the year.
Oh,
for the innovation of the photo. So that was the new Washington Monument. But then once I left DC, you know, they couldn't call me the new Leaning Tower of Pisa or something in Italy.
Right.
Hey, Mike, you, man. What is your most memorable moment playing basketball?
I tell you, my most memorable moment, and I'm going to take it to the NBA by actually having a dream come true and reaching the pinnacle of my profession, was we played the Hall of Fame game as the Bulls and it's the Lakers. And I had just watched the Celtics Lakers in the finals. Just watched that, and I believe the Celtics won that year. But now I got to go in the game, and I got to guard Jabbar. So here's the king, jab, skyhook, goggles, you know, and I got to go with him. So I said, oh, man, it's on TV. I said, listen, I remember coach telling me to get low, get on the forearm shiver, give it in the back. So as soon as I get in, Jabbar has, you know, I'm guarding him. I hit him and get him off the block. Right. And I saw him look back at me, and he looked at me almost like, yo, Rook, this is preseason. You know, this is how he's looking at me. But I'm like, for preseason, my preseason for me, this is like the championship game.
Right.
So I'm in there. So I get it, and I know he want to go to the middle with the hook.
Yeah, you know you want to come back to the
paint. That way, he gets it. He goes to the middle and shoots the hook, and he misses. I'm like, yes! You know, that was my moment. This is against Jabbar, and the first time I got him, he shoot the shot and he missed. Now maybe he just missed on his own, but you know, I felt I had something to do with it. So that was my moment.
Hey, my man ain't scored. That's how my
he didn't score.
My man ain't scored. Hey,
not on me.
Talking,
not today.
My man ain't scoring me. We good. I took care of business today. No, that's
right. That's right.
For sure. Hey, was Bill Laimbeer as ruthless as he looked on TV in real life?
And listen, I couldn't stand Detroit. I'm not going to use the word hate, but as you saw,
it was real.
Oh yeah. Because you know what, back in the day, then you're able to just hit. They used to close. You know, I don't mind the physical play because I'm a physical player. I used to say I'm a football player out there masquerading as a basketball player. I don't mind the physical, but the extra little dirty stuff, like you would have, you know, they would step on your foot when you're trying to jump.
Oh, yeah,
you know, they're going to grab shorts. All of that extra little dirtiness, But what they wanted to do was agitate you that you would just go off on them, hit him with an elbow or something, and get kicked out of the game.
Get kicked out of the game. Yeah.
And that was Lambier's job. Lambier's job was to go after the best player on the other team. If Jordan gets kicked out and Lambier gets kicked out, we're probably going to lose the game because Jordan is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it's mission accomplished.
Yeah, he did his part.
Joe Dumars, Isaiah, Adrian Dantley. You know, you got all these other people that they really didn't need him for scoring. We needed Jordan for scoring. And so I didn't like that dirtiness. And then too, the unsportsmanlike, and then also the whining. If you're going to dish it out,
you got to be able to take it, baby.
Yeah, you got to take it a little bit.
Oh, look what he doing to me. You know, and Lambier, between Lambier and Danny Ainge, they was probably the biggest whiners.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like,
Lambier is too big to be doing all that crying, man.
Exactly. You know, sure enough, if he's playing in certain leagues, you know, they had from the Rucker League or the Urban Coalition or the Sunny Hill, all these different leagues, you know, Lambier get run off the court because he couldn't whine like that.
Right, yeah, he ain't got time.
No, you know, and so his skill set, I mean, he's a champion, great player. His skill set for all the stuff he did, it didn't match up.
Got you.
Okay.
Got you.
And so as a player, you like, you know, he would get up under your skin with unnecessary stuff. Yeah. No, I didn't like him.
Point blank period.
Was a dog. What they show on TV, Lambier was a
that boy didn't give it.
But
he was out here.
I'm imagining him walking around like he's a mean person walking around, but he did what he did in the court. Was a crybaby everywhere else.
But listen too, Lambier family had loot, so he was more of that almost kind of spoiled guy that always got away with things. And that carried over on the court.
I know that kid. We know them kids. Yeah.
Like, you know what? I could walk away from this and I'm still fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't take it to where like, oh, if I hit this guy too hard and he may fall, his career might be over and it's going to affect him and his family. Lambier was like, nah, I don't care. I'm just doing it. Yeah. So
Lambier did not care. My bad.
No. Speaking of IT, though, Mike ain't like IT. Not one bit.
Yeah. Mike didn't like. Oh, Mike Jordan didn't like IT. Or Mike.
No, because and this is my thing, and that carried over for me in Utah too, because I didn't like the Isaiah because now it all, you know, went to the dream team and he felt Stockton had his spot. So we had played in Detroit time, and he had probably maybe 43 on John, on Stockton. Wow. You know, when you're on the West Coast, you only come back one time, you know, to play, you know, on the East Coast team. We play him twice a year, once home, once away. So we end up losing the game in Detroit. And he had about 42, 43 on John. So now we come back to Salt Lake. Now in Salt Lake, we rarely lost. You know, it's been a couple of years that I was there that we lost 3 or 4 games, you know, all year, 37-4. You know, that type thing. It was a tough thing at home. Sure enough, he come off the screen, Karl Malone, gives him the elbow. And I don't know if you remember, he hit him in the head, split his face open. He gave Isaiah like 40 stitches.
Oh, damn.
Oh, he had plastic surgery. If you still look at Isaiah now, you'll see a little scar there. Karl with the forearm protecting Stockton. Like, no, you ain't coming up here in Salt Lake and about to drop 40 on my guy because now you mad from the dream team.
Now you mad from the dream team.
Oh, yeah. So this thing for me was my first 7 years in the NBA. From when Isaiah, you know, in Chicago and then now in Utah.
Right.
It was crazy. But no, because how do you say too? Isaiah was sneaky dirty. You know how you almost had a guy kind of like, around in the neighborhood, and all of a sudden you find out that how someone knows something. Yeah. It normally would be a guy that's a little freaky doing the thing. Right. Isaiah went into that mold. Besides that guy, a Hall of Famer, top 50. We when we're talking here, it's apart from their ability on the court. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Diminishes their ability, but a little bit more on the personality side. You can have someone great and I mean great in what they do, but don't like them.
Right? Yeah.
That was Isaiah there. Yeah.
That's the definition of respect right there. Like, I like your game, but I don't like you. Like that's a fact. Like you can hoop, like you can definitely win or something, but I just don't like you. And it's weird because not weird, but like I'm watching The Last Dance. I saw Mike, like his whole attitude would just flip a switch whenever Isaiah Thomas' name would be said. And I'm like, yo, but when you look at Isaiah, and Isaiah got this very soft touch to him, like this. He's very soft spoken, and he's Isaiah. He smiles and like
that sneaky, yo.
But that boy, he's sneaky. He's sneaky.
See, that's the one that you got to be looking out for, right?
You got to watch. Barely Isaiah Thomas was doing the damn thing. Okay, all right.
That's the kind of one like you don't want to leave your girl with him.
That's IT.
You don't want to leave your girl with IT, boy.
Because you thinking, oh yeah, let me just run real quick, grab a soda or something. Next thing you know, he done got a number or something.
Yeah, he got a whole new wife. That's crazy. Hey, we got one question from one of our viewers. They was asking, like, do you have a memorable dunk on somebody? Do you remember dunking on somebody that's like, I'm taking this one with me?
Yeah, I had a couple, but I tell you the one that kind of come to mind, and it's not because of the like if I had a dunk and it was happened to be on Jabbar, it's like, oh my goodness, it's Jabbar. Yeah, you remember that. But I come down the lane, I'm back home, I'm in Jersey, and we playing against the Nets, and I come down the lane, Stock gives me the ball, I dunk, and I actually dunk on Roy Henson. It was one hand, but he hit me in the lip, and my tooth went through my lip.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, oh my God, I come down, it's the blood. So I got to go in the locker room, get 2 stitches, and then still come out and play.
They stitched you up in the back and then said, back to work.
Listen, it's back. No Novocaine or nothing. They just coming with needle and thread, stitch me up, and then I went back out and play. So I told the fellas, I said, we definitely got to win this game.
We got to.
I got to. And I can't take the L too. So
I just went to war.
Hey, Cal, show Allison comment.
Oh yeah. Allison had a good one.
Story time.
So Uncle Mike beat me 10 times in a row in tennis when I was 6. I was in tears. Then he beat me an 11th time. Most competitive man in the world. He talks about MJ being wired differently. You're a little different too.
It's funny because I when I go, I like to compete, and my thing is, I'm out there, having fun, and it's going to be a time that you beat me consistently.
Yeah.
Because of, age and skill set and everything. So I'm like, hey, while I can, I'm gonna let you
catch his work.
While I can, you gonna get this work.
But you remember those, and it's a driving moment. You know what I'm saying? It's a teaching moment to where even though things get a little tough, like you said, we went to 11 times. Other kids could just say, throw down the racket and walk off.
Yeah.
And so now we do this now. Afterwards, we go get ice cream or we sit down and talk about it. It's all good. It's not a thing of breaking confidence. It's about building.
Building confidence. That's what that did. And
makes it that way, but that's funny.
Yeah, that's crazy. She's still
because her dad used to beat up on me in tennis. He was tennis players.
Your revenge.
Yeah, you was over here getting your revenge. Like somebody gonna have to get this.
Somebody gonna catch these 11 L's.
Yeah. One of those Butler McGraws. Somebody gonna have to get it.
Right. No, that's interesting because, like, I mean, it says a lot because I mean, she still remembers it. So obviously, you did something, right? So no,
Right.
that makes perfect sense. It worked for sure, man.
Mhm.
But no, we about an hour and 10. No, we gonna get ready to wrap this up, man. But
Okay.
I kind of wanted to get your opinion on one other thing. Being at like the climate that we're in and the times that we're in. So we recently had another death, African American male death in our I guess in our lenses most
Yes.
recently. We had a gentleman by the name of let me make sure I get his name right, Walter Wallace Jr. out of Philadelphia,
Mhm.
who recently was murdered by the police. He had some mental issues going on apparently, and I guess my question to you, Mike, is, one, how do you feel about that, and just the other part, yeah, like let's just talk about that, man. Like, what's your take on our need to vote and how it works with what's going on in these communities?
Well, we've always, in general, been hunted, and it's sad to say, but through our history, in this country, we've always been looked upon at a lower level, so the value of life has been lower.
Okay.
Today's world, with your generation and social media platform and cameras and everything, things have been more exposed to the rest of the world. And so the thing that I see the compassion that comes from other people outside of African Americans to say this is wrong, which that's great and a step going forward. But when you look at the fact that the discrepancy of I'm going to be able to shoot you 5, 10, 15 times compared to someone maybe of a different skin color, is like, hey man, calm down, it's a different reaction. That in the world we have to change. We have to get that same reaction across the board. But one thing with the rest of soul, I understand with the mental illness, I was real surprised in reading the family's comment of him by saying that they didn't want charges on the officer.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Didn't want the charges because the family felt that that officer wasn't equipped to handle mental illness. They wasn't trained on when they saw this situation, they would know how to handle it.
Right.
They were only trained with a weapon to be an assassin. Right. And I thought that was real, noble and different from the family's point of view. Instead of saying, you know what, you just couldn't, you wasn't taught to do it any other way. Even though you realize that this person wasn't in their right state of mind, by the way they're walking, by the way they might be talking, by the way they have a knife coming towards someone, with a gun, that obviously there was something, off there, besides the family telling them that he's, mentally ill. It's very sad on the loss of life, but it was real interesting. I saw on the approach of the Wallace family of, what they thought that their justice should have been for their loss.
That's interesting. Now, I didn't know about the whole not pressing charges part. Like, I knew they showed up without tasers, but for the family to take it to the extent of like, hey, we don't want to charge a police officer, I'm gonna have to do some reading up on it before I, talk too crazy.
They didn't want to charge them with murder because when you look at it, they've never been trained to deal with someone with mental illness. They didn't have the tasers.
They didn't have
their only line of defense was a
bullet.
Exactly. So that was their point of view.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right. Man, this has been good. Futch, you got anything else, man?
Mike done taught me a lot today.
Just like the playing the tennis.
Yeah, we got 6-8 games of tennis in today. It's been a good one for sure, man. Hey Mike, how can folks find you on social media? I know you have your Instagram. You mind sharing it with some of the listeners here, because this is going to go out. Although we're virtual live right now, it's going to go out. It's going to be an audio version of this available later on, like for folks to play back at any time they want, and things of that nature. So how can folks find you if they wanted to get to know the Bear a little bit?
Okay, on the Instagram is Brown Bear NBA.
Let me add that. I'm gonna add that right now.
And the same on Twitter, and reach out to me. I'm always kind of willing to to talk. My kids had to tell me what was a DM, and I'm like, oh, how do I answer back? So if it takes me a little bit to get back to you, don't feel offended, because I gotta wait for a kid to come home.
You gotta wait for your little kid to come home to show you.
That's funny.
Listen, when you told me you were going to send me the stuff, I was like, man, I hope it's an email or a text. I know how to get it that way, but
I got you, Mike. No, that's love, man. Hey, that's what's up, man. Mike, we genuinely appreciate you coming on the show. This has been great, man. This has just been. I mean, I'm a kid. Like, I'm a basketball player. Like, I grew up with the basketball in hand. So I vividly remember when Jordan hit the last shot. I vividly remember a lot of different notable moments in basketball, but to talk to somebody who was in those moments, like, this is something like
a whole different viewpoint.
I'm smiling internally. Like, this is one of the greatest conversations I've had, in my lifetime. Like, I'm not even going to hold you, man. So,
I appreciate it. Hey, guys, I appreciate you having me on. I was actually glad Allison was able to hook us up.
Sure, man.
It's refreshing to me. I'm really proud to see, two young black men doing their thing, reaching out to people, educating, because it's all about us helping each other, educating, and, and staying together. So it's an honor for me to be on the show. I mean, thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mike. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man. We'll
keep in touch with you.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. I know where you are. I used to live there, but I'm coming back out there to visit, and I'm definitely going to reach out to you, man. Me and the wife want to go grab some rap snacks.
Okay.
And, hey, man, love is love, man. But no, Mike, we genuinely appreciate you coming on the show, man. I'm sure our viewers and listeners appreciated you as well. Okay. And we'll definitely talk to you again soon, Mike. We thank you, man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks, fellas.
Have a good night.
Man. Take care.
You too.
All right.
Hey, Brody, that was a good insight. Like, I learned stuff that, like, the IT thing about him being sneaky. Like, I heard it, but like, it makes sense.
I heard it all the time, bro.
But for him to say it, it's like, you know what? I get it. And the way IT was talking on The Last Dance, he was like, I don't know why. I don't know. Look, I see it now. I'm like,
I don't know why.
That's why. I get it.
He's so soft spoken, bro. Like, I used to I was the one that was like, you know what? IT can't be that bad, bro. Like, look how he sounds. Like, I'm not taking this seriously. Like, when you putting up 40 and 50 and you out here wilding, like, all right, well, he can clearly hoop. But now you sneaky too? Like, all right, I know you, bro.
Now you sneaky too? Come on, bro.
Now you sneaky. You a sneaky guy, man. Hey, you know what's crazy, man? We're going to log off, and there's going to be some questions that I wanted to ask Mike that I completely forgot about. But fam, this is me. This is why we was talking, bro. This is all of the timestamps from all of the dope conversations that different joints that we was having, man. So that was, man, like, I was a kid in a candy store just now, bro. I'm full. I'm full, bro.
I like the stories that you don't know about. Like, we see on TV. But the whole, they was at like Mike crib and him can't going out, and then 15 minutes before the store closed, he made a deal with the grocery store. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, man. That's wild, man. What a freaking episode, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, so earlier today when we was talking, I had to put that couch together. So after I was done putting the couch together, I'm like, man, I got
who gets couches that you have to assemble every piece? I seen it on Instagram. I'm like, bro, you was like, I'm doing this couch and hit you back. I'm like, all right. They just dropped the big joint off. You and P got to put it in the corner where you want it. No.
I was wondering. Yeah, it was one of them love sack joints, but so you had to put the furniture coverings on it, but everything kind of like lock in like on some Tetris type time. So it was one of those type joints, but it was just a matter of getting the legs in and then putting the furniture coverings on. But yeah, it was cool, but like I had to first off they dropped them off on the bottom floor, so I had to carry them joints all the way upstairs. It was 16 pieces, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But
look, I ain't gotta say nothing else. It was.
I ain't gotta say nothing else. It was 16.
Upstairs.
16 boxes. 16 boxes from FedEx came today. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear it. But I say all that to say I ain't feel like doing this pod. But like people was like, "Yo, but you got a really dope guest pulling up," and I was like, "Let me get my ass up." You know what? You're right. I got a dope ass guest pulling up. You know what I'm saying? So. You know, that was my motivation to be able to have that conversation. Looks like we got
we gonna let that show. We gonna let that show when we about to log on. We gonna let it show. We ain't gonna talk about it.
Hey, Allison, he's not here for it, yo. He don't want to talk about it, B. Oh man, Allison, AG. Genuinely appreciate. I didn't know your uncle was that cool, man. Like that was one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest conversations I've had. Like I'm dead ass. Like. I remember watching all of them growing up, and like to be able to talk to them now is just
the insight.
This is why I do this pod. This is why we do this pod, man. We set the table, man. We just set the table, man. That's why we do this, man. But hey, I'm gonna go ahead and show this comment before we get up out of here. Yo, Iowa in a no-man's state. Hey, speaking of Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure if you haven't voted already, I don't know why, but make sure you get out there and vote. I went ahead and voted yesterday, and then I hit a 13-mile bike ride to celebrate.
Oh,
so
not to mention hit 13. Not to
mention, I got my Lance Armstrong on, but my Cal Armstrong on. But ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead, strippers. I'm being very respectful when I call you a stripper because to be called a stripper on this platform is something elite.
And so, you said your favorite stripper earlier.
Yeah. No, my favorite stripper was up here. Yeah, she was live and direct. P, you know, even though she like Lil Romeo rap snacks, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna buy her all the non-Romeo joints.
All the Lil Romeos, all the Master P's.
Yeah, man. But hey, we getting ready to get up out of here. Last week was dope. Last month was dope. We starting this month on some fire. Energy is gonna continue. Hey, we're going to keep it coming. We appreciate everyone that tapped in today. We'll have this pod ready to go audio-wise in the next between 24 and 48 hours. Don't bother me. We're going to make it work. Don't quote me, though. And as you can see, I got this OTS hoodie on. There's some merch on the way. So, ladies, please, strippers, please tap in and, show us some love, show us some support. And, Futch out here. Doing his thing as well. I don't know what dance that is, but
my hips. I got your hips, bro.
Yo, I saw that earlier too.
Hey,
yeah. Why was your hips moving, bro?
The music was good. You know, like when the song come on and you don't know what to do, and the song came on, I was like, "Oh, yeah." See, there you go. That's it.
Hey, we out of here, baby. OTS for